This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And usually I'm not used to saying that, but I am for this podcast, a special edition of the Fast Break for you guys. Got a little bit of a one-segment podcast right before we do our center power rankings. Is that what we're doing tomorrow? We're doing our centers tomorrow.
We have breaking news.
Little schedule. We do have breaking news, but before I get into it, explaining why we're doing this little scheduling. Sean has a job, and that's basically why we're doing this. Sean's like, I got scheduled on Friday, so you guys are going to be, we got Z on the line, going to talk a little Suns Rockets for you for the breaking news that Dave's talking about, but Sean's like, you know what, do the segment with Z on Friday, we'll do our rankings on Saturday, so that's what we're doing. But like Dave said, we got breaking news. We got a trade in the works that sent Ryan Anderson and I can't remember the other one. D'Anthony Melton to the Suns for Brandon Knight and Marquise Chris going over to the Rockets. Before we get into everything, I'm going to do housekeeping really quick. Make sure to check out Patreon. That's how you get to be like Z and be on a podcast. That's down below in the description. The shirt, neither Dave or I are wearing it. Just take Dave's shirt and put the MVP logo on it. That's what the shirt is. Pretty much it. It's a great shirt. Down below in the description is that, or you can go to mostvaluablepodcast.com and get that and everything we do here at MVP. And then last but not least, go on to iTunes. If you're on YouTube, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, tell us why you like listening to the podcast each and every week. But we got to get into this news, guys, as the Suns and Rockets with this trade. And Z, I'm basically going to go to you first. You're the Suns fan in the room, and I'm going to ask you, what the hell are the Suns doing, man? What are they doing with this trade?
We are plotting and scheming, my man. We are plotting and scheming to take over the world, Pinky. But man, I'm confused. I don't know. I was talking to you guys a little earlier, and I thought the game plan was if we were going to trade Knight or Chris to add them along with one of these draft picks or TJ Warren or something and get us one of these young studs at the point guard position, like, Scary Terry or D'Angelo Russell or Lillard or somebody like that. But I don't know, man. Defense is something that we struggled with last year, and you get the most unathletic, slowest guy in the league besides the guy that was picked 4th or 5th in this year's draft. What's his name? I forgot his name.
5th in this year's draft.
What's his name?
You're talking about Miles or Mikal Bridges?
No, the guy who the Mavericks picked up. That's
Luka.
That bum.
You jerk.
Yeah, that bum.
You fucking jerk.
I was like,
it took me way too long to get that.
I
was like, he was technically drafted sooner than that. I'm just saying he was drafted. No, go ahead, man.
Every chance I get, I'm gonna take a shot at that guy. But,
you're gonna regret those shots real soon.
No. But so to that point, I mean, now one of the biggest weaknesses for Aiden was his defense, and now he's going to be asked to do a whole bunch with Ryan Anderson starting at the 4. So I don't know, man. It does more than make us thin at the point guard position, because now, you got this guy, Ryan Anderson. He's going to play the 4. I thought we were going to put Trevor Ariza at the 4. Now Trevor Ariza is most likely going to play the 3, and then that's going to make us have Josh Jackson and TJ Warren coming off the bench at the 3. So I'm confused, man. I'm confused.
Yeah, you've got a lineup that is weirdly loaded at the wing with a lot of mixed talents, and I honestly don't know what you're going to do at point guard. On the upside, though, if there is an upside to this, Ryan Anderson, you're not going to play in the playoffs, so you don't really have to worry about this part. Like, he's fine during the regular season. He's a great spot-up shooter from 3, and he can hit trailing threes. Like, it's nice spacing for you guys. The question is, like, if you guys aren't doing that well throughout the year, no offense, I don't expect you to be a playoff team, but like towards the end, you just pull the move where you're like, and sit your ass on the bench while we're going to play our young kids and, get more time and experience out of him. But D'Anthony Melton obviously is kind of the interesting one here for me, because I loved him pretty much going into the draft process. I think the kid's a stud, and he looked great during the summer league. So, he may not be the point guard of today, but you could have a great defensive pairing point guard to move forward with, in the future. But in the meantime, like Isaiah Cannon your starting point guard or what?
Oh no, man. I think they might try to go with Shaq Harrison or somebody.
Yikes.
Well, and I mean, for me, the big thing is of what you were saying with the power forward like situation, like, oh, Ryan Anderson, like we're going to start him.
Yeah.
I think and this is obviously true for any lineup in the NBA, whatever lineup you throw out there day one is not what it's going to be at the end of the year. And I think that as this team kind of develops, I think Trevor Ariza, like, why would you move him from the 4 if it's like, okay, he's going to give us a better option? Maybe as games go on, it's like, okay, Ryan Anderson works better from the bench because, like you said, Dave, he's not bad in the regular season.
Yeah,
like, it's just playoffs when he can get exposed. That's when it's like, ugh,
when it
can't
actually
have
matters.
you on the floor.
But you're not worried about playing defense in the first place. So
exactly. I mean,
I don't think he has to start. I think just because his contract is stupid huge doesn't mean he has to start, though. Like, I'm all for
it. Hasn't stopped us in the past.
I'm all for playing the lineup you think works best, and him being a complimentary piece. I think maybe the hope is that Bender can continue to improve his shooting and increase his volume to match alongside Ryan, and kind of learn a little bit from him on being a big, slow, tall guy. I mean, ideally Bender has more to his kit. For him, it's more of a confidence thing, it seems, from the outside, as far as what to do with the ball once he gets it. But, I think there's just too many questions about where this team's going at point guard that I'm now at a loss because I'm like, unless...
Do they have to make a trade this year?
Do they have to make a trade going into the year? Because I don't know who's starting if it's not Isaiah or if they're going to roll with a rookie out there starting point guard to start the season.
Well, I kind of have a theory about this, and I've just come up with this theory right before the podcast, so
Wonderful.
It's going to be good. This is kind of a Skip Bayless-like theory.
Dragon Bender at the point?
Taking that from the comment section. Not Dragon Bender at the point. Here's what I'm already thinking of... There's 2 point guards that are off the wall, kind of like they may not be targets right now.
Yeah.
That throughout the season, depending how things go, could be targets. The first one I'll start with, probably the least likely one, and Z's probably going to want to hate me for this because he hates this team. But what if we watch LeBron and the Lakers and we watch LeVar Ball?
We'll take LeBron, no problem.
No, not LeBron. What if the Lakers open up Lonzo for trade? How we've talked about before that, maybe they do trade. Like we were talking Kuzma, BI, but Lonzo's been off. What if eventually he becomes available? Or the more recent, the one that I think could happen that's still off the wall, the Suns have already been in talks with the 76ers with trades in the past. We just saw it in the draft with the whole Bridges and Zaire Smith trade. What if the Suns try to make a push, move some draft picks, move a player or two, and try to get like a Markelle Fultz from the 76ers? If, let's say, Markelle comes out and it ain't working in Philadelphia, if his shot is still not working and it's like, what's going on with Markelle in Philly? What if they make a run after? That's the one I'm really looking at. What if they make a run after a Markelle Fultz because they have a relationship with Philly?
Z, I'm gonna let you just handle this first.
All right. Well, to kind of answer what you said at first, Dave, I think they have to do something this year because like the fan base, we kind of like the real true diehard Suns fans. Like we knew that this like little era was coming of sucking and being at the bottom of the food chain, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we kind of braced ourselves for these 8 years. Now we didn't think it would take 8 years, but I'm glad it did because we get the players that we have now. But we're kind of tired of that now. Like as a city, as a fan base, it's like enough's enough. If the Suns are tanking again this year, or if we're not, putting our best foot forward, and if we lose, we lose. You know what I mean? The West is so deep and so good, and it got so much better.
Yeah.
If we lose, we lose. But if there's no effort and we're tanking and sitting guys and all this, it's going to be a bad rest of the contract for Ryan McDonough. Now, with that being said, I think we have to make a move, and we got to do it this year. And then to answer your question, Ricky, man, how much I hate the Lakers, throw that out the window. If we can get Lonzo, like Lonzo is ideal. I know we were talking about Ricky Rubio a little bit earlier off the podcast, but man, Lonzo is perfect because we need a point guard, not a shooting guard that's small enough to play point guard. You know what I mean? And I think he fits the bill, man. He's a great playmaker. He can play defense and we could hide Devin Booker, and then he's young enough, and I don't know, man. I think that would be perfect. That would be ideal. I'd much rather have him than Markel. But, to take the tinfoil hat off and to put the hat of reasoning back on.
Thank you.
Like, what do we have to give up? I'm a Suns fan, and any little package I come up with is going to be biased and it's going to be unfair. But, I mean, I'm willing to throw in Milwaukee's pick, our pick. I mean, I know they wouldn't take T.J. Warren. They got a whole bunch of wings already. I don't want to give up Josh Jackson. I don't want to give up Mikal. Obviously, Booker and Ayton are untouchable. What? Do they want Tyson Chandler? Do they want Ryan Anderson? Do they want DeAnthony Milton? Like,
yeah, you got a lot. You got a lot of untouchables right now, and like I think T.J. Warren just kind of looks like the odd man out of the group right now, unless you're weirdly ready to give up on one of the younger guys than him. But
hell no.
And that's the thing. I don't think there's any reason to. I think the guy for me that stands out as a potential grab, and we brought it up a little again before the cast, looking at the Clippers. I think maybe a guy. Honestly, I know we brought up Pat Bev, but I'm looking at Milos. Like I think he would be.
Well, he almost got cut.
He almost
got, like, there was news where it's like, oh, the Clippers have cut Milos, and then like 2 days later, no, they didn't cut him. He's still on the team.
He took his deal. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's only a $6 million contract. He is actually a really great facilitator. He's one of the best passers in the world, and that's exactly what you want. He can stretch out from three to give guys spacing still. Like, I think he's a guy. I think they're going to be very eager to see Shea run the point for them. So I think that, between Milos, Pat, Bev, Juwan Evans, Shea, like they've got a loaded backcourt. And then at the two, I mean, Lou Will, Avery Bradley, Jerome Robinson, and Cindy, like they have too many guards. And I think that he is the easiest one out. And you could get, him for a fairly cheap price since it is just a 1-year contract at this point. So I think that maybe going for someone, I know he's, on the wrong side of 30, but at the same time, he's a veteran, even though this is only his second year in the league. His first year was, unfortunately, he had to deal with some injuries. They were a very positive team when he was healthy and when he was playing for them. So I think, like, bringing in kind of an older, calmer voice into that team, into that locker room and during their games would be huge for them.
Oh, for sure. His age is not necessarily an issue with me. Because if we don't get like a young answer, which is going to be kind of impossible. Now, really the only, like we said earlier, the only tradable pieces that I think we had are the ones we gave away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we're kind of now in the market for a stopgap type of guy, just to get us to either this offseason or the next one, and where we're going to have some money. You know what I mean? We don't have to re-up on Marquise Chris now.
Yeah.
So that's going to help us out. We got rid of Brandon Knight contract. That's going to help us out.
I mean, you traded Brandon Knight's contract for Ryan Anderson, who, like, he did drop his guaranteed money down to match, but still, you're stuck. Yeah.
Do they both still have 2 years, or does Brandon Knight have 3 years and Ryan Anderson has 2 years?
I think Ryan has 2.
I know for a fact Ryan has 2. What about Brandon Knight, though? Does Brandon Knight have 2 or 3?
Oh, check.
Because the one thing I know for the Ryan Anderson, this was only because of the trade. He's going to have about $20.4 million for this year, and then for 2019, his salary is going to be reduced from $21.2 to $15.6 million because of the trade.
Exact same contract. Yeah. So Brandon Knight also, his final year under contract is that 2019-2020 season.
Okay. So I mean that I'm definitely cool with that. I just hope that if we get somebody young, I mean I don't see it right now via trade just because like what are we going to give up? You know what I mean? So I think Milo is ideal and realistic. But I mean, I'm definitely willing to live in fantasy land with you, Ricky. And if
So-
we're gonna do that, let's go for D'Angelo. I want D'Angelo Russell.
I got one more, and the thing I'm thinking of, I want to ask you this before I bring it out. When you were saying stopgap Z, you were just talking about this season to get us from this point this year to basically end of the year this year and this upcoming off season.
Yeah, or the one after that. I forget who's available this year coming up.
So-
Guys
I know
like Rubio, Jeremy Lin, Kemba, Darren
Yeah.
Collison.
I don't want Kemba, man.
I
don't want Kemba.
I got 2 or 3 that could be stopgaps. 2 of them, one of them is a stopgap for this year. 2 of them, or all 3 of them, could be stopgaps for next year as well. The first one I'm going to throw out there because it might not be realistic, but this is a one that the Suns could. If this year they don't make a trade for anyone, they need a stopgap for next year because one of the big free agents doesn't want to come. What if they throw money at like a Rajon Rondo, 1-year deal for him, kind of like, because he's only 1 year with the Lakers. We don't know how that's going to work out, meaning is he going to re-up with the Lakers? Is he going to stay in LA? The other one, this is one that they could trade for this year or let him play his thing. And I'll be honest, the team that he's on might look to move him because they got arguably the hottest point guard from this draft behind him. What if they go after Jay Lynn? Get Jay Lynn as a stopgap this year. No, what I'm saying is like right now they might start him as like Jay Lynn and kind of ease Trae Young in,
starting day one.
But you could go out and say, all right, Jay Lynn's not the starter.
I
there.
love Jeremy Lin.
Let's go get him for the Suns. You could either do that now and make a trade or wait until
you can't make a trade
agent.
yet because he was just signed.
Yeah, but I mean like this season. Or wait until he's a free agent at the end of the year. The other one's one we always talk about maybe them making a trade. What if they are like, all right, we know we're not going to get anyone this offseason. We'll make it for the 2020 offseason year, and they go grab like a George Hill from Cleveland because he's under contract this year and he would be under contract next year before being up in 2020.
It's a lot of money. What do you think?
No, yeah. If that's where we find ourselves with those 2 options in free agency, I mean, if it's like a stopgap type of thing, like this year is fine. But if we're going back-to-back stopgap years, I mean, like what's the light at the end of the tunnel? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this year, I mean, we're kind of forced into it, but hell no, man. Like, if we
I respect your honesty.
Man, if we got Jeremy Lin, like, come on, bro, like it doesn't fit. Like, I don't know. He's not really. I don't know.
He's gonna get hurt again. I hate saying it. I love him.
You think so?
He's just fragile. Like it's year after year, injury after injury. Like I don't think that Rondo would come because he wants to compete for a ring right now. That's where he's at in his career. It feels like. Jeremy Lin, 100%. Someone's gonna have an opportunity at him at the end of the year. I don't think the Hawks are gonna re-sign him as a backup, even though I think he's super talented and likable and a great locker room guy. Honestly, I think you're right. Like going after someone who can just soak up some time at the point guard this year, and I want to see what DeAnthony Melton can do come the end of the year. I want to see him looking like maybe he could be a starter. Give him the time. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You guys, again, you're not going to compete for a playoff spot in the West. So why not find out what you guys have? I know you want to start the year off trying to compete, trying to see what you guys can do. Like realistically, where are you guys going to land? But once we hit the All-Star break, like giving him a majority of minutes or giving Okubo a decent chunk of minutes, like those are the guys who should be the long-term answer. So I think go for somebody who hopefully isn't going to break the bank to bring him in. Shit, I mean, I'll give you a slightly used. Who's on the Bulls who I hate?
Campaign.
Yeah, I'll give you a slightly used Campaign. He looked great last year. Absolutely great. Just ask anybody. But no, I mean, I think that's right. That should be the goal: is let the youth play, let them play it out. Because honestly, I'm almost at the point, like just talking today after running through like a number of options. I'm like, why not see what DeAnthony Melton can do out there? Like, yeah, I know he was a 2nd-round pick. I know that, people are going to have their, like, well, how are you going to let him start? He didn't even play basketball last year. Like, he looked pretty good in Summer League. And, yeah, it might take him a bit to learn, but, like, you got a roster of guys under the age of 24. Like, with the accompaniment of, like, Trevor Ariza, Tyson Chandler, now Ryan Anderson, the rest of your team barely can drink. So, I mean, let the kids play. Have fun. It's exciting to watch younger talent play, to be fair. Like, I don't want to go out and watch, like, if you guys get, like, Jared Bayless to play point guard for some awful reason. Like, I don't give a flying fuck about Jared Bayless at this point in his career. I would much rather watch D'Anthony Melton be
calm
a rookie
down.
player.
He's a Wildcat.
Oh, he's a wild. All right. I'm sorry. I forgot the Wildcat connection between Phoenix.
Bear down. No, that's Tucson, not Phoenix. Phoenix is ASU.
Oh no, I'm just.
He meant like the Wildcat
Kentucky.
connection with you and him. But the thing that I'm thinking of is, I kind of like what you were saying. Like, let them play.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, whether if it's Melton, even if it's Okubo. Because, like, even Okubo in this squad, I look at and I go, I kind of want to see what I know that
he's like a Lou Will six-man who looked really raw.
I just want to see what he can develop into.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm looking at the free agents at the end of the year. Because let's be honest, I don't think, and I know we talked about this before we started recording, I don't think the Suns have a chance to get, like, to trade for a Kemba Walker or trade for a Damian Lillard. And me, if I was a Suns fan, I don't know if Z would disagree with me, I wouldn't want to give up that farm to get a guy like D. Lillard with the amount that the Trailblazers would be asking for. When, for me, it's like, with what you have, if you let them roll this year, then it's like next year, out of the guys I listed, Rajon would be the best one because he could be like that veteran of like, okay, next year we're going to bring in that veteran to kind of show these guys what to do. Or if, let's say, Rondo decides to go back to the Lakers, because who would want to leave LeBron James? Because everyone
Kyrie.
Kyrie, but how's his career been since he left LeBron? Ricky Rubio would be the next guy I would look at in this next kind of bracket of free agents to be like that veteran. I don't know if, like, D'Angelo Russell wouldn't be that guy. And I don't know if you did sign D'Angelo Russell in the offseason next year, I don't know if he would be what many are hoping that he was going to be coming out of Ohio State, or if he'll ever be what we thought he was going to be.
Likely going to put up 20 a night, I think. So it's not too bad. It's a problem that, you know, he's adverse to playing defense, which is what they're trying to fix the culture right now in Phoenix, I feel like. So, yeah, he could light it up. He's got the whole ice in the veins shit going. I love watching him play. But, like, I don't know if adding him to that team makes them that much better than finding someone who might be a better fit necessarily. And I mean, a less ball dominant point guard, like you said, give Devin Booker the touches, give DeAndre Ayton these touches, because those are your guys moving forward.
Yeah,
you shouldn't want to go like, I know that's how the last couple of championships have gone. Is we got KD in free agency and made the best team even better. But like, you should, homegrown talent is the way this team should be built in my mind. So I look at Dev Book and DeAndre Ayton, I'm going, there's your two linchpins. You got Josh Jackson playing incredible defense at the wing. You got a couple other wing players for extra depth and great shooting from the outside. Like, it starts to make sense, but I just look at this team and go, you had 4 point guards who are all above average since 2013, and Isaiah Thomas, Goran Dragic, Eric Bledsoe, and Brandon Knight. I know there's been a lot that's happened since then, but it's like you went from 4 above average quality point guards to none, and you're now what are you going to tell me? Like, I wonder what the Suns are going to roll out to the regular season, because I just keep looking. I'm like, I think like Isaiah's going to get a couple starts, and then they're like, all right, well, that didn't show us anything we didn't know about him. Let's see, how much has D'Anthony Melton shown us in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And I mean, the one thing I will jump in and say is, except for, like, if I'm going back to, like, you can go back almost all the way until the 90s, like 1990 of champions of most of the teams except for the last 2 Warriors and the 2 LeBron Heatle championships. You look at it, the Warriors' first one, homegrown talent. The Spurs, all homegrown talent. Like, they draft their guys and just
they've had a couple guys who they've picked up off, like Boris Diaw.
But like the big ones where it's like Tony Parker, Manu,
they're
Duncan.
big 4, yep.
Yeah, like the Lakers Shaq was the big free agent one where you could say, they brought in Shaq, but they also had Kobe and they drafted Kobe.
They traded for Kobe at the draft, to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, I would count that
Same with Paul Gasol.
They developed Kobe, let's put it that way. Really, like the LeBron James Heatles, the last 2 Warriors, And I would say maybe some of the Lakers with Shaq, because technically he came over from Orlando. And then the Celtics, the big three with the Celtics.
Every team's got a couple mercenaries, and there's nothing wrong with free agency. I think it's
no,
it's
but I'm
helped,
saying
but
those were the only teams. Like
the core of your team
Celtics,
should be
Heatles, and maybe the last two Warriors were probably the only ones where it was like, yeah, of course. But the last two was you add KD, of course.
To the best team in the league. Yeah,
everyone else was we developed that talent that we had, and I mean, for the Suns, that's why it's like I think the two that I'm looking at. And Z, I'll go to you. Ricky Rubio or Rajon Rondo, because both kind of fit something different of what you want. Ricky Rubio can be that guy, like you said. Let's facilitate Devin Booker. Let's facilitate Ayton down low. Let's get them the touches. Rubio doesn't have to be the main scorer. Or you go after a guy like Rondo. Hey, we need to up our defense and our toughness. Who's going to help us with that? Rajon Rondo. What are you kind of thinking with the Suns? Z, final thoughts before we kind of move on into the Rockets and their side of this trade?
All right. I'd say my final thoughts is out of those two, definitely I'd want to go with Rondo. Reason being is kind of the point that you made, Dave. I was kind of being facetious and goofy when I was talking about D'Angelo Russell because they got their friends or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, I'm right with you with the fit that we need at that position. Is definitely a point guard who's from that Steve Nash cloth. You know what I mean? Like somebody who can make a shot if necessary. In Rondo's case, to drive if necessary instead of the shot. But who's capable of that? But their main thing is setting up the team. And my hate for Luka Doncic, we need DeAndre Ayton to be a monster this year. We need. For this fan base who's kind of nervous now, I'm not gonna lie. We need to be settled down and calmed down by some great statistical performances and some awards won by DeAndre Ayton, just to make us feel like we didn't get Suns, even though we didn't. You know what I mean? Like
I got you.
We need to be reassured, and in order for DeAndre Ayton to get to where he's supposed to be and where we envision him being, I think it's a necessity that our point guard is not like this new school era of point guard who's all about scoring and being ball dominant and dribbling the air out the ball. We need somebody who's gonna, initiate plays and who can run the pick and roll and who can set up, Devin Booker and that Derek Fisher type, if you know what I mean. So.
Yeah.
I definitely would. Out of those two, would want to go with Rajon Rondo, and also to your point, Ricky, that toughness. Like he's a no nonsense kind of guy, and kind of like a hole or whatever. But if you put him in that locker room, I think it does nothing but make everybody else kind of develop that edge. And I want Devin Booker to continue to grow into that young Mamba and have that Mamba mentality. And it hurts me to say this and give Kobe praise as a Suns fan, but I mean, it took for him to retire for me to be able to finally, come out the closet, and admit how great that this man was, man. Like people talk about LeBron and Jordan. Like, how does Kobe get lost in this conversation? But I don't know.
You sound like Christian. Christian always brings up the where's the Black Mamba with this? Where's Kobe?
Well, let me say this. I love the fact that he gets left out of the conversation as a Suns fan. Because a lot of his greatness, unfortunately, was demonstrated against my beloved team. He was that guy. But talking about Booker, is kind of, that's how we see him, as like that young Kobe, but he needs to have that ruthlessness, you know what I mean? Like that, where he'll cuss a teammate out and, kind of get him in check or whatever. I mean, he has that killer instinct that Skip always talks about, that LeBron lacks, that clutch factor. I think Devin Booker has that. Yeah. And I don't know, man. We just I'm a Suns fan, man, so I'm always looking at the cup half empty, and but I don't know. It'll work out, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will. I think at the end of the day, the one thing we didn't talk about at all, and I think that I want to just hit before we do move on to the Rockets is
we got to talk about the Rockets.
Devin Booker potentially playing point guard, something that we've heard dragged up multiple times and turned down multiple times. But can you please just give us one last, this is not the plan. This is not what they should do. Just from a Suns fan.
Hell no. Don't do that. Don't ruin him, man. Don't ruin him, because talk about statistics. Like, yes, Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double, but like, look at his turnover. You know what I mean? His turnover percentage, and look at James Harden. And I don't know, man. I don't think that's him. You know what I mean? Because if he's focusing on being a point guard and getting everybody else involved, and that's taken away from him dominating the game and scoring. You know what I mean? And that's just one more thing that you got to add to him. You know what I mean? Like, simplify the game and allow him to be great offensively and a scorer. You know what I mean?
Nah, I totally agree. I think that, let him be him. Yes, he did put up 25, 5, and 5 last year, but like, he should not be your primary ball handler. It does sound good. I'm not going to get wrong, but it's still the point where you need someone else to be the primary ball handler. You need someone else to be able to set up plays for him, because it's only going to make his life easier. Like, right now, they can double cover him every play, because who else is going to need coverage out there, honestly? Like, last year, he saw a lot of tough shots. He was taking the shots. Credit to him, but like, if you
making them hoes.
Yeah. But if you have a natural point guard out there, it just makes life easier on him. And I think that's the answer. I just keep coming back to that.
Well, we'll move on into the Rockets kind of to end this. And Z, I'm going to ask you first. And this question is going to be very simple, because I think it's the only question that you can ask anytime the Rockets make a move. They bring in Brandon Knight. They bring in Marquise Chris. Is this enough for the Rockets to beat the Warriors?
No, because nobody replaces what you lost with Trevor Ariza defensively. Adding those two, maybe offensively it makes you it gives you a little more variety to the ways you can score. But I don't think it's enough, man, because I don't know when Boogie's gonna play, but whenever he does, like, they got a whole lot better, man, and it's not fair. This is some 2K My GM type stuff, but I don't know, man. They got so much better, and that's not enough.
Appreciate your honesty again, but yeah.
Hopefully.
I think that the backup point guard is a big thing for them. Mm-hmm. I think Brandon Knight will pay huge dividends if he can remain
injured.
No, he looks physically back. Like, you can't say, like, yes, he's had a couple injuries in his career, but like, he looks like he's in great physical shape. Mindset's right. Everything that has been coming out that he's been saying has been great. I'm
also saying he has to be, because the guy above him will get hurt at some point this season.
And that's exactly the thing. So I think they bought themselves some Chris Paul insurance, some Cliff Paul insurance. Marquise Chris is the thing where I just look at that guy and I'm like, I don't like, if there's anywhere that he can succeed, I guess it's going to be in Houston. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's going to be out of the league in 2 years, because like, skill-wise, he doesn't have any. He's athletic as all fuck, but like, he doesn't seem to get I don't know if it's mindset, awareness, basketball IQ. There's a lot of terms for it, but when he's out on the court, he gets lost at sometimes. He gets frustrated. He still acts really unprofessional at times. Like, he was like, I think he was in the top 5 of technical fouls, and the only guys above him had like double his minutes. So like, that shows you he's not matured enough as a player yet. He needs to continue to grow. So like, if you can model him after someone, Daryl Morey should know how to be able to get the most out of these guys.
And most important, D'Antoni.
D'Antoni as well.
I wonder if D'Antoni is going to, like, what he's going to do, man, with Marquise Chris. Like,
don't throw that name out there next to Marquise Chris. That's some bullshit right there. And
because I mean, even look at it.
Amari.
I mean, like, look at with James Harden before D'Antoni came in, where it's like a lot of people, and I mean, Game of Zones even made fun of it, where it's like, oh, well, where's the book on defense? Oh, no, this is no defense, double the offense. And it's like...
And yet they were one of the top 5 defensive teams the last 2 years.
D'Antoni has a way of, hey, I'm going to do this to try to get the best out of you. And, I mean, like you said, maybe this is the best team for him, because we always ragged on his defense Well, in Houston, you don't got to play defense because they only care about offense.
You just catch lobs from Chris Paul. Like, DeAndre Jordan did it. He's athletic. He's tall. You're not quite as tall, but you're still super athletic. You could totally jump up there and just slam down lobs.
And that's what I wonder if the Rockets made this move because the one thing in the playoffs we saw last year, the one power forward that gave them really good minutes was PJ Tucker. However, for the future, PJ Tucker getting old as shit, Dave.
Yeah.
He is 33 right now, will be 34 next year. And yeah, he does have 2 years left on his contract, but he's going to be 35 in that last year.
Yeah, he's got that old man game.
Will be rough. So maybe it's like, hey, if we need, want to move, play Chris at the 4, we need more of a young athletic guy at the 4 with PJ getting older. Carmelo Anthony's a guy where he's 34. I am honestly don't know what we're exactly going to get from Melo this year. And the whole
Hoodie Melo.
The whole reason why I am in this mindset with Melo is because we hyped up the Thunder last year. When they got Paul George, when they got Melo, it was like...
They were good initially.
How great... we looked on paper, how great are the Thunder going to be? Before the season, how great? And then, the first week of the season, it's like, what's wrong with the Suns? Or the first month. What is wrong with the Thunder? I said Suns because we were just talking about the Suns. Because
we're great.
The Thunder were fine.
It's what? But we even had a topic where it was what's wrong with the Thunder?
They were fine.
It was...
They got back on the horse.
They eventually did, but it was never what we thought.
And then Roberson got hurt.
Yeah, it was never what we thought they would be. So with me, I'm more of a prove it to me before I start overhyping the Melo thing. But even with Melo, they got him for a year, and then we don't know what it's going to be like next year. Or did they get Chris to be like, hey, when Clint Capella, because there were times in the playoffs where they're like, all right, we can't really play Clint Capella out there against, especially in the Warriors. Are they going to do it to where, hey, we're going to take Clint Capella off? Yeah, I know Marquise Chris doesn't play a lick of defense, but he can be more athletic out there and catch those lobs from CP. Maybe he can. And it's the whole thing of against the Warriors, if he's playing the center, how is he going to do against Boogie? Because in the Western Conference Finals, Boogie's hoping to be back.
Clint Capella is the only answer to Boogie that they have. Don't try to make it out like Marquise Chris can stop Boogie Boogie or do I?
I'm not.
The only thing he can do,
he's out there, that's who he's going against.
The only thing he can do is get into a technical matchup with him. Because that is the only way to get Boogie off the floor.
Either or, him with Boogie or Draymond, just getting a technical war with
That's what Marquise Chris can do. He can antagonize, and he can make childish moves out there. That's the answer.
Knock his ass out.
I don't know if Boogie's a big dude.
Maybe that's their answer.
Hey,
try to get
Chris used to play football, man.
What if Chris is the answer to try to get Draymond teed out of the series?
That might be the only logical upside there.
He played football, so he's used to wearing a cup to protect that area, you know.
Jesus. I think the big win here is that Houston got to keep their pick. Honestly, though,
Dave respects that joke. He respects the Draymond kick
in the nuts. Yeah, I hate that man for that. But no, I think the big deal is Houston got to keep their pick, which means I don't think they're done building this roster. I don't think this is the last move.
You want to know something?
Yeah.
I was listening to the radio today, local radio, and one of the insider dudes, they were saying that there's still some news to come out.
Oh.
So they said they don't know if it's cash considerations or if it's some picks involved, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they got rid of that pick.
Hopefully they didn't.
Well, it's not the Bulls, so I'm not going to say cash considerations because we're the kings of cash considerations.
We took cash considerations pretty hard, so no, I think you're fine on that one. But if they did keep that pick or whatever pick it is, it means they have leeway to move mid-season, and that's something that this team and Daryl Morey constantly does. In the last couple of years, we've watched the mid-year pickups of Joe Johnson, Green, and I want to say the year before that, I don't remember his name, but they've done it constantly. He's never satisfied with the team he's got, which I'm happy that he's constantly making moves trying to improve them. So I think that this puts him in a better position because Chris Paul, less time that he has to play during games. So if you give him 4 more minutes of rest a night, it adds up over a season, you know? I'm hoping Brandon Knight's back, does his thing, gives Chris Paul the rest he needs, and honestly, they make another move and they keep challenging it.
Well, Z, I'm going to kick it to you for we've gone for almost, I'm trying to say with the time, about maybe between 35 to 40 minutes on this one.
Nice.
A little bit of a longer topic. Final thoughts on this, whether you want to go back to the Suns or you want to give your final thoughts on the Rockets in this deal?
All right, I guess I'll talk enough about the Suns, even when that's not the topic. So I'll talk about the Rockets a little bit. Another thing about the trade, just a little secret. 6 weeks ago, Brandon Knight had a minor little surgery on his knee to clean some stuff up. So he might not be ready until like the start or the middle of training camp. So that's that. And then just about Marquise Chris, look, man, I kept saying young Amari because of the athleticism, and just like he's now with Mike D'Antoni. So I can just see it now. Like Chris Paul is the closest thing to Steve Nash that I've seen since Nash left, as far as just that vision and that willingness to be that amazing playmaker. Yeah. And now you got the maestro with Chris, and I think it's gonna be good for him, man. And then don't forget, like, Marquise Chris has the ability to stretch the floor. Like he can shoot it, man. Like his numbers might not be. Yeah, he can. And I'm serious.
Okay.
He can pop that thing. He misses it, but he can shoot it.
I mean, as long as you can get up to like 33%, get people to respect your ability to shoot, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
And I mean, that's what they do. They shoot. You know what I mean? So over there in Houston, and he has the ability to do that. So I wish the best for him. I like him a lot. I really do. And this is weird because usually if somebody leaves the team, I'm just hoping they get injured. Or something like that.
Spiteful as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not. You know what I mean? Like I really, and maybe it's just because I hate the Warriors so much. So maybe that's it. But
anything to beat the Warriors. I agree to anything to beat the Warriors.
Yeah, we should all just team up.
Hell yeah! If you staple together a couple
every
teams,
team just puts their best players in.
I mean, I've looked at the Eastern All Stars versus the Warriors, and it's still I wouldn't go against.
I don't know. Giannis can contain KD.
Giannis, Kawhi. That's a discussion for another day. Actually, I want to do that. Eastern All Stars versus the Warriors. Like that's
are the
Warriors
better than an All Star team, basically? Because they are the Western All Star team.
They pretty much are.
They pretty much. And
so sad.
And the one thing I had to look at, because Z kept saying young Amari. I don't know if you knew this off the top of your head, Z, but looking at the height weight for both Chris and Stoudemire, both are 6'10". Amari was like 5 pounds heavier, 245 to 240.
Come on, man! You're talking to the ultimate Suns fan. I know all these.
He grew up watching Amari. Come on, you can't get him with that shit.
Any final thoughts, Dave?
No, I think we covered everything pretty much as well as we can. I think this might be one of the weird trades where I don't think we'll know the winner until we see DeAnthony Melton.
Well, until we see what the Suns become.
Yeah, well, I think it's sooner for the Rockets because they need that help now. They need Brandon Knight to contribute this year. They need Marquise Chris to do something.
The Suns were not going to have that answer for years down the line.
Yeah, I think that one is we're entirely waiting to see if DeAnthony Melton turns out to be that hyped up first round talent just fell to the second round because of the obvious legal questions coming out during that USC season. So I think it could be a good trade both ways. I think we could get a win-win trade down the road. But we won't know on the Sun side for a while. The Rocket side, you need answers now. Let's see it on the court.
Well, and I mean, like I've said about the Suns before, and I don't know if this trade takes away what I said.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years, and I'm going to be putting them in as a playoff team.
Surprised it's not this year. Well, if they get a point guard,
it's not this year. If they get a Rajon Rondo, maybe
they're not getting Rajon Rondo.
No, they're not. But
they're not getting Markel Fultz. They're not getting anyone of that ilk.
If they get Lonzo Ball, tinfoil hat back on. I know they're guys. I know they're not getting. I gotta talk to the camera for a second.
You just want to get hated. Like you just want to get hated on.
People sometimes here's the thing you gotta understand about me. Sometimes I mean what I say. Sometimes I'm just doing it to screw with people, and it's a fine line where you don't know which one it is. But with the Suns, I do think they will be a playoff team. 2-3 years is kind of like my timeline where we'll be predicting them as
2020
a playoff team. 2020, which would be 2 years from where we sit right now. But this is where you guys come in. You guys have probably done it already, but tell us what you think down below in the comment section. Then also check out patreon.com. You want to be like Z and be on a podcast? That's how you do it. That's down below in the description. Our shirt is down there as well. Dave can show you his shirt. It's that with a MVP logo on it because he's wearing a black shirt. You can also go to mostvaluablepodcast.com to check out all of our stuff. You can also get the store there as well. And last but not least, go to iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Give the podcast a 5-star rating. Let us know why you like listening to it each and every day. Z, I want to thank you for joining us on yet another great segment, another great Patreon segment.
Tomorrow the sun will rise.
Tomorrow the sun, and that's what we'll leave with. Have a good day, everybody.